Christian Counsel by Fenelon, 24. The way of naked faith and pure love is better and more certain than that of illuminations and the sensible delights. Those who are attached to God only so far as they enjoy pleasure and consolation resemble those who follow the Lord not to hear his teaching, but because they did eat of the loaf and were filled. John 6:26. The ready to say with Peter, Master, it's good for us to be here, and let's make 3 tabernacles. Mark 9:5. But they know not what they say. After being intoxicated with the joys of the mountain, they denied the Son of God. They refused to follow him to Calvary. Not only do they desire delights, but they seek illuminations also. The mind is curious to behold, while the heart required to be filled with soft and flattering emotions. Is this dying to self? Is this the way in which the just shall live by faith? Hebrews 10:38. The desire to have extraordinary revelations, which may be regarded as a supernatural gifts and a mark of the special favor of God. Nothing is so flattering to self-love. All the greatness of the world and at once could not so inflate the heart. These supernatural gifts nourish in secret the life of nature. Its ambition, the most refined character. It is a wholly spiritual, but it is merely ambition. A desire to feel, to enjoy, to possess God and his gifts, to behold his light, to discern spirits, to prophesy, in short, to be an extraordinarily gifted person for the enjoyment of illuminations and delights leads us all little by little towards a secret coveting for the things. Yet the apostle shows us a more excellent way. 1 Corinthians 12:31, for which inspires with a holy emulation, is a willful charity which seeks not her own. 1 Corinthians 13:5, a desire not to be closed upon, if we may adopt the apostle language, but suffer herself to be unclosed. She is less in search of pleasure than of God, whose will she longs to fulfill. If she finds pleasure in devotion, she does not rest in it, but makes it serve to strengthen her weakness, as the convalescent uses a staff to aid in walking, but through the side on his restoration. In the same way, the tender and childlike soul that God fed with milk in the beginning suffers itself to be weaned when it sees it is time and it should be nourished upon strong meat. We must not be ever children, always honey upon the breast of heavenly consolations. We must put away childish things with St. Paul, 1 Corinthians 13:11. Our early joys were excellent to attract us, to detach us from growth and worldly pleasures by others of a pure kind, and to lead us into a life of prayer and recollection. But to be constant in the state of enjoyment, and then takes away the feeling of the cross, and then live in the fervor of devotion that continually keeps paradise open. This is not dying upon the cross and becoming nothing. This life in illumination and sensible delights is a very dangerous snare if we become so attached to it as desire nothing further. For he who has no other attraction to prayer will quit both it and God whenever the source of his gratification dried up. St. Teresa said, that a vast number of souls leaves off praying, and the rare moment when their devotion is beginning to be real. How many are there who, in consequence of too tender rearing in Christ Jesus and too great fondness for the milk of his word, go back and abandon the interior life as soon as God undertakes to win them? We need not to be astonished at this, for they mistake the portico of the temple for the very sanctuary itself. They desire the death of the gross external passions, that they may lead a delicious life of self-satisfaction within. Hence so much infidelity and disappointment even among those who appear the most fervent, the most devoted, those who have talked the loudest abandonment of death to self, of the darkness of faith, of the desolation, are often the most surprised and discouraged when they really experience these things, and the consolation is taken away. Oh, how excellent is the way pointed out by John of the Cross, who would have us believe without the saying and love, without desiring to fail. This attachment to sensible delights is the fruitful source of all our illusions. Souls are earthly in desiring something tangible, as it were, because they can feel firm. But this is all wrong. If these were things as sins, then produce vacillation. We think, while the pleasure lasts, that we shall never desert God. We see in our prosperity that we shall never be moved. Psalm 36. But the moment our intoxication is over, we give up all for lost, thus substituting our own pleasure and imagination in place of God. Naked faith alone is a sure guard against illusion. When our foundation is not upon an imagination, feeling, pleasure, or external illumination, when we rest upon God only in pure, naked faith, in the simplicity of the gospel, receiving the consolations which he sends, but dwelling none, abstaining from judging, and ever obedient, believing that it's easy to be deceived, and that others may be able to set us right. In short, acting every moment with the simplicity and upright intention, following the light of the faith of the present moment, then we are indeed in a way that is but little subject to illusion. Experience will demonstrate better than anything else how much more certain this path is, and that of illuminations and sensible delights. Whoever will try it will soon find that this will of a naked faith, rigidly followed, is the profoundest and most complete death of self. Interior delights and revelations indemnify ourselves for all external sacrifices, and cherish a sacred, refined life in nature, but to suffer ourselves to be stripped within and without, and once without by providence, and within by the night of pure faith. This is a total sacrifice, and the state the farthest possible from self-deception. Those then who seek to guard against being deceived by a constant succession of emotions and certainties, but then were of course exposing themselves most surely to such a result. On the other hand, those who follow the leadings along that strip them, and the faith that walks in darkness without seeking any other support, avoid all the sources of error and the illusion. The author of the Imitation Christ, Book 3, tells you that if God takes away your inward delights, it should be your pleasure to remain pleasureless. O whole beloved of God is a soul thus crucified, that rests calmly upon the cross and desires only to expire with Jesus. It's not true to say that we are afraid of having lost God or being deprived of fulfilling. It's impatience under the trial, the restlessness of a peppered and dainty nature, a search for some support, for self-love, awareness of abandonment, and a secret return to self after our consecration to God. Oh God, where are they who stop not in the road to death? If they persevere unto the end, they shall receive a crown of life. Amen.